Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Versus. Today we're going to be talking about Queensryche, a band that formed in 1982 and are known for their various hits on albums such as Rage for Order, Operation Mindcrime, and Empire, just to name a few. So, to begin, this isn't going to be Versus with the singers, or this isn't going to include any of the older stuff from pre-2011. This Versus is going to start out when Tate got fired in 2012. And one version of Queensryche got Todd LaTorre, moreover, and the other version, of course, is led by Jeff Tate. So, to begin, as always, I'm going to give a little brief history of the bands. Well, one band, but they're both two separate entities at this point, and basically where the court case is going to head. So, to begin, Dedicated to Chaos was released, and it's really bad. It's a piss-poor effort, in my opinion. And, it tried to fuse two things. It tried to fuse progressive metal with industrial metal, and it really failed. And I think this is where most of the members of Queensryche just said, Jeff Tate, what the fuck are you doing to us, basically? Where are you taking us? You're running this band into the ground. Because Tate had basically, up till that point, run the band like a dictatorship, practically, as far as my understanding goes. So, the only albums that I have heard, by the way, are Operation Mindcrime, Empire, and Dedicated to Chaos, of course. So, fuck that album. Fuck Dedicated to Chaos. Yeah, you get my point. But, yeah, anyways, so Dedicated to Chaos was released, people hated it, and Tate got pissed, the rest of the band got pissed, they tried to fire Jeff Tate, and then they brought in newcomer Todd LaTorre as a singer, as a lead vocalist. So, while all this was happening, Tate was, butthurt and pissed off, of course. So him and his wife developed a plan to countersue. His wife being, the manager of Queensryche from 2005 to 2012 before the split, had a little bit of say in some of the band's stuff. So basically they tried to countersue, and they kind of failed, but then they kind of succeeded in that they had it so that both of them could use the name of both of them could use the name of Queensryche. I'm sorry, I can't talk today. But yeah, they tried to block the other members from using Queensryche as the name, but they failed on that behalf, on that part, in that aspect. So, getting into their actual material, because this is the bare bones of it, in January or February, I forget which one it was, but LaTorresryche released one track entitled Redemption. And this one, it begins really strong. It's a heavy hitter in the beginning. It has almost moments of heavy and thrash metal. It's not progressive like Queensryche's older material that you'd find on, say, Mindcrime or Rage for Order, maybe, or Empire, that's what I meant to say. But it is it's heavy metal, but then it gets really poppy. That's my only problem. It gets really popish. It has a lot of auto-tune, and if you know me, you'll know that I really heavily dislike autotune. It sounds really annoying. But on that aspect, I really like the vocals, I really like the lyrics. The lyrics are very uplifting, and they're about a very, very positive message. So, it's overall, it's a pretty decent song. Not my favorite, but getting into Tatesryche, of course, Jeff Tate. I almost said Geoff Tate. I get really confused. His real name is Jeffrey, but he switched it from Jeff to Geoff, Geoff. For some reason, I don't know. Anyways, Jeff Tate's version of Queensryche decided, hey, we need to, one-up these guys. Let's release something from an album, that we're going to come out with in a few months called Cold. Let's release Cold off of the Future Frequency Unknown. That was released yesterday, actually. So, they released Cold to lukewarm reception. Most people did not like it, but others kind of liked it a little bit. Overall, though, it was kind of a mixed bag. So, if you look at the dislike bar and like bar, they're kind of similar on YouTube. So, the whole album is just like that, actually. Stale production, flat lyrics, monotone sound, crappy guitars. It's really distorted. You can't really hear what's going on. And there's this really weird echo in the vocals that really is inexplicable. And overall, I think, both of these songs slash albums were a little bit rushed, but overall, I believe that LaTorresryche did the better job at making what the best of the situation and making a better song, basically producing better material. So, to conclude, one person does not make a band. Two people do not make a band, unless it's just a two-person band, but one person does not make a band. Axl Rose, Guns N' Roses, point in case. So I rest my case in that aspect. So, yeah, I believe that Jeff Tate is trying to be like Axl Rose, kicking out the rest of his bandmates after he got fired and saying, you know what, you can't use Queensryche as the name, but, you know, we'll see when the court case is concluded. It's supposed to be concluded in November of this year, so by the end of November, we will find out if LaTorre or Tate will be able to use Queensryche as their name, and which one will have to drop it. So, I mean, I'm hoping it's LaTorre who will be able to continue to use Queensryche, the LaTorre-fronted band, because overall, I mean, I think that, you know, it was really, really disrespectful on Tate's part, especially in the cover of Frequency Unknown. It's almost like, you know, he was thinking, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, Frequency Unknown, fuck you, F you. That's basically what he was going for with the cover, and I think it was very disrespectful. I think, you know, if you're going to do that, you might as well go into a career in rapping. If you're going to bash other bands, if you're going to go in and bash other kinds of music in your music, I don't really like that. So, overall, like I said, I personally prefer LaTorre's version of Queensryche, nicknamed LaTorresryche by me. But you guys might not. I want to know what you guys think, actually. So, just voice your opinions down in the description below. I'll link both songs, Cold and Redemption. But what do you think? Todd LaTorre or Jeff Tate? Most people, I'm pretty sure, will probably agree with me about the Todd LaTorre side of it, as one person does not make a band, except for, of course, Ozzy Osbourne and Sebastian Bach with Skid Row and Black Sabbath, in my opinion. But, you know, both of those guys are recording good material on their own. So, point in case, I think that LaTorre is, of course, the better vocalist. So, this is Midnight Strike 3625. Thank you for watching. Keep calm and rock on.